Okay. So if you're familiar with L'Oreal as a company, they're the world's largest beauty company, and they manufacture in essentially all areas of beauty: skincare, hair care, eye products, face products, lip products, and as it pertains to some cutaneous aspects and things like that, I wish I had the expertise and the familiarity to speak with a little bit more expertise on some of the skincare products that address some of the issues that she had mentioned from a dermatological aspect. But we have a manufacturing facility here in North Little Rock, and the way L'Oreal chooses to divide its production is based on technical family. So the manufacturing facility that we have here in North Little Rock primarily focuses on mascaras, some powders, and a few other small-scale liquid face and lip products, as well as filling some nail enamel. So we talked a little bit more when I was there earlier about a lot of the production and processing that goes into how they formulate mascaras specifically. That is the kind of the bread and butter and the main focus of the plant that we have here in North Little Rock. All of the L'Oreal and Maybelline mascaras that you see on any store and any shelf in the United States has been manufactured here in North Little Rock. And so based on our market share, that means that 6 out of every 10 mascaras that are purchased anywhere in the United States at any point in time were made right here outside of Little Rock. So kind of a little bit of what we touched on earlier is just kind of the formulation process of how a mascara comes together. And it's not maybe quite as simple and as crude as some of the rumors and things, the urban legends and things that we discussed earlier about, does it come from bat guano? Is it just a couple things you mush up in a pot together? It is a little bit more scientifically complex than that, and the beauty industry and L'Oreal as a company, is very research intensive. I think last I checked in 2011, the company filed 613 patents. So they do a lot of research and are very involved and have MDs and dermatologists and PhDs that do a lot of research in those areas. But from a mascara perspective, I talked a little bit about how it all comes together, and really what mascara actually is oil and water emulsion, where the wax phases, we use a lot of plant-based waxes and oils that come together and are actually put into large-scale manufacturing vessels. I think we're usually between about 800 and 1,800 liters is the size and scale of how we produce mascara in its bulk form. So those oil and wax phases come together, and they get sheared through a rotor-stator system and to make their particle size very, very small so that those droplets can actually be affected by those emulsifiers and turn that into a suspension of the oil, water, and the pigments and, a few other thickening agents and preservatives that are used to stabilize that mixture so that it can be applied nicely to the eye. So there's a lot of things that go into how that product gets to and meets the claims and meets the expectations of the consumer. So we check, if you think about it from a quality control perspective, which, as she mentioned, that's kind of been my role, is in various aspects of the guarantee of the product quality. Viscosity and specific gravity, or density, all those things are something that we check and that are part of the specifications of that bulk crude formula, and that actually translates into the expectations of what the consumer perceives and experiences as they use the product. So those physicochemical parameters affect how it interacts with the specific brushes that are chosen for it and how it's applied, and whether we claim that it is thickening or lengthening or what it's waterproof. Waterproof mascara production is a little bit different. It's not that oil water emulsion. There's no water in the waterproof formula, obviously, because one of the tenets of chemistry and science, like dissolves like, so you cannot have a water-based mascara that's resistant to water usually. So that's actually a suspension, a gel suspension of solvent, and then similar ingredients and pigments. So what you have is that that expectation and all those chemical perspectives that go into what the consumer expects when they just want to apply it to their skin. There are beauty products that have interaction. Mascara is just simply something that's applied to a part of your body just to change its physical appearance, not any part of its physiology or anything like that. So then where I come in at the end is understanding about how that formula comes together, what that formulation is, and determining the concentration and action that it actually takes to break that emulsion back apart and facilitate it, removing itself from the equipment that we need to use, to manufacture something different. So it gets cleaned and it gets sanitized. Obviously, there are a lot of microbiological considerations to the products when you're placing anything around or in your eye area. So we have specifications about the preservative levels that we use in the products. We have complex microbiological preservative systems that are in place to deter any growth that might be introduced just from your daily use of the product. So we assay to make sure that those levels are at a substantial closeness to theoretical, and then we do actual microbiological testing and culturing of the products before they're released to the public to make sure that they still meet those requirements and that they're not in any position where they could ultimately cause any kind of adverse reaction to the eye area of consumers. So, if you have any questions about mascara formulation, we also I said we make powders, pressed powders. We do a little bit of filling. We don't actually manufacture nail bulk there because there are a lot of safety considerations, and it's a very intensive and expertise-intensive process to manufacture nail bulk. But if you have any other questions about those types of cosmetic products, I can probably give a little bit of insight. But pretty much the mascara is kind of where I oriented myself a little bit. And one of the reasons is also something I can share with you guys kind of as a sneak peek is if any of you are familiar with the show on the Science Channel, How It's Made. That show will actually be paying us a visit here in upcoming months, and that will be one of the processes that they follow through. And you guys can tune in, I assume, probably sometime next year, and actually see the facility in North Little Rock, and get a visual of a little bit more of what I'm talking about from the production aspect.
That sounds great. Thanks, Christa.